What makes a story a banger? Is it the drama? Maybe the action? An intricate plot? No, that's not it. Anime, manga, webtoons, all of these are art, and not just in the sense that they hopefully have pretty pictures on them. Art is the conscious expression of ideas and emotions into a form observable by others. Painting, sculpting, music, literature. What makes a story truly good is the same thing that makes any art good. It makes you long for more. For the first time in my life, I'll get straight to the point. I don't think you need a revolutionary plot to tell an incredible story. It all comes down to the sound writing of two story elements, the characters and the setting. And when I say sound writing, I mean how effectively a story delivers the message the author intended. Do you see what they wanted you to see? Understand what they tried to explain? Feel how they hoped you would? By popular request, let's take a look at The Boxer. In search of his last in a line of Hall of Fame proteges, boxing legend Coach K stumbles upon you. He's a monster. Time moves differently for him than anyone else, and he has a set of athletic gifts that make him impossibly well suited for boxing. Elated, Coach K takes him under his wing, and the tale of his conquest of the boxing world and ascension to the title greatest of all time begins. If you haven't read The Boxer, that probably sounds generic to you. If you have read The Boxer, you'd know that I'm lying through my teeth right now. While that description of the events on screen isn't wrong, that's not what the story is about at all. Sound writing will deliver a clear, well thought out, and uniform vision to the audience without sending conflicting messages about what the author wants you to take away. The Boxer does that phenomenally through its character writing. You wants to understand the meaning behind existence. Why are people born just to die? Why should anyone treasure anything that will eventually fade from the world? Why do people endure suffering to accomplish meaningless goals that will at best only change one pale blue dot in the grandness of the universe? The Boxer's purpose is to share with us the reality of people's hardships, acknowledge the apparent futility of life, and encourage us to go on anyway. All of the most prominent foes you encounters in the ring have struggles of their own. All of them have suffered in their journeys to a point they've questioned why they should even go on. But for each of them, in dire and decisive moments, they find meaning in the people who have supported them. The people who have added to their own suffering to take away from theirs. Their purpose becomes those they love. You has never had anyone like that, and whenever someone tries to become that for him, Coach K makes sure to get rid of them before they taint the monster he's diligently cultivated. Is the premise generic? Yes. Does that affect whether the story is deep and touching? No, and that's in part due to a second factor: the setting. A good story setting will amplify character writing by allowing each individual to express themselves and be 100% of who they are, for better or worse. In The Boxer, the setting is the world of pro boxing. Yu is surrounded by people far inferior to himself who have dedicated their lives to achieving levels that will never be anywhere close to his own, reinforcing his callous view of the world with every victory, as he determines that people's efforts can never make life worthwhile. I don't think this would be the best story to talk about when it comes to setting writing, though. The Boxer has a simple setting that elevates incredible characters. I'd like to talk about a story with simple characters that amplify a tremendous setting. In that story, everything is fine. As in, the story is named Everything is Fine. I promise you, nothing is actually fine in that twisted society. Our main characters are a relatively normal couple, Sam and Maggie. Nothing stands out about them, from their well-mannered dog Winston to dinner parties with the neighbors to their standard morning routines featuring Sam waking up at 2:60 and Maggie lovingly cooking breakfast before reciting vague messages to herself as she stares into the government surveillance cameras. Okay, maybe normal isn't quite right, at least not by our standards. Author Mike Birchall doesn't tell us much about the setting, but we're able to deduce for ourselves pretty easily that it isn't anything like ours. Why does everyone have a cat head? Is that part of their bodies? Well, there isn't any narrator or internal monologue to answer what would be common sense to everyone in the world, but we get our answer when a random guy emerges from the wilderness in search of food with his head all busted. Okay, next question. Why is a guy with a busted head spawning in the suburbs? Well, we aren't sure, but from the fact that Sam and Maggie ignore his existence and poison their trash so guys like him don't eat it, this appears to be a common occurrence. Wait, why do they speak to each other as if he's not there, and why does he seem to expect this? Must be because they're being watched. Who's watching them? Why? What aren't they meant to do? Now, those are the golden questions. The characters of Everything is Fine are otherwise normal people who are so strongly oppressed that every action they take has to meet some unknown standards, and this creates tension. Everyone is always either completely worn out or entirely on edge, and this makes the characters unpredictable. They're all forced into a game that you don't know the rules to, but you're very well aware that whoever loses has to face the wrath of a force so great that the threat of its punishment is strong enough that Sam and Maggie would offer their only child to appease it. When regular people are driven to insanity as all their liberties are stripped away, just what will they resort to? Again, it may not on paper be the most revolutionary of ideas, but the pacing of the thrills, the slow development of the setting, and gradual development of the characters are executed so masterfully that its overall quality far exceeds what its unoriginal premise might suggest. Now, before I let you go, there's one last webtoon I'd like to shout out, The God of High School. It doesn't follow a journey towards acceptance like The Boxer, where every character has a personal legend that built their self-worth and strengthened their presence, nor does it tell of an esoteric shadow government that wishes to inject itself into every aspect of every person's life for unknown reasons. Instead, it finds the point in the middle that suits it best, creating the semi-fantastical setting that best fits the types of characters the writer wanted to tell tale of. The story begins with high schoolers across Korea receiving invites from mysterious executives to participate in the titular no-holds-barred God of High School martial arts tournament, where the winner has any of their wishes granted. I don't want to repeat the same talking points about how its good setting and characters help to make it a smash hit, but I do want to take us back to how I opened up the video. If neither the character nor setting writing individually deserve to be the subject of a thesis, there is only one thing a story needs to achieve to truly be great and deserving of reading. It has to make you want more. Does it make you want to turn the page? Progress to the next chapter? That investment in the events of a story shows your connection to a writer's art, and that's a feeling God of High School can proudly boast it sparked in many people who got through the admittedly underwhelming first few super rushed episodes before it really found its stride. The fights are hype as hell, and Jin Mori's mantra of doing whatever his heart calls him to makes him a magnetic protagonist who you can't help but cheer on and be inspired by. If you'd like to cheer me on, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Until next time, this has been Ken-chan spreading Everything is Fine propaganda.